ready to roll. Okay, let's go. Shari Atiane Muri Tainayane Mavidir Kuranga Muli Tehave Pulaka Shari Atiane Muri Tainayane Harakabe Nitai Chandera Corona Ve Samsara Vashana Mora Kame Chuchave Vishaya Chati Akabe Shunave Nanda Kame Amaya Boshri Rindavanava Vishaya Chati Akame Shunave Mana Kame Amaya Boshri Rindavanava Rupa Bade Noi Bea Kuti Kabeyama Ujabose Yukala Birti Ubaradu Nathapade Noi Bea Kuti Kabeyama Ujabose Rahumora Asha Ratana Gore Sata Naratamatas Uparadu Nakapane Rahumora Asha Ratana Gore Sata Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya Utle, Shimadi Bhakti Vedanta Sahamani Tinamani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharne Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Deja Tarne. So let me read the translation of this beautiful poem by Narottamadas Thakur. When will that opportune moment come to me when I shiver upon chanting the name of Lord Gauranga? When will I cry while chanting Hare Krishna? When will I receive the causeless mercy of Lord Nityananda so that my desires for material enjoyment become insignificant? When will my mind be purified of material anxieties and desires so that I can understand Vrindavana? When shall I be very eager to study the books left by the 6 Goswamis so that I can understand the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna? The lotus feet of the 6 Goswamis are my only shelter. In constant separation from them, I remain. Narottamadas. Narottamadas Ki Jai. So we're going to continue with our study of the Caitanya Bhagavat. We're on chapter 9, which is of the Amshalila, which is the next to the last chapter. And today will be, most likely, the last class I'll give for a while online because I'm going to India on Monday. And tomorrow is our Sunday program. And tomorrow we have a Rath Yatra for the Sunday program. So, with that in mind, let us continue and try to get as far as we can, probably pretty close to the end of the Caitanya Bhagavat. So, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. So Om Gana Timiranda Shah Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshur Meditam Yena Tasmai Shikharave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. Okay, let's share the screen. And here we go. So we're beginning with text number 166 in the 9th chapter of the Ancha Leela of Caitanya Bhagavat. Okay, move that chat window to the side. Okay, and here this chapter is about Advaita Charya. All the devotees became stunned with ecstasy as they heard the chanting of the name and glories of this most recent incarnation. As Advaita danced, he sang a song he composed in glorification of Lord Chaitanya for the deliverance of the entire universe. O Lord Chaitanya, you are Lord Narayan himself. You are an ocean of mercy, and you are the friend of the distressed. Please be merciful to me. By chanting this verse, which is issued from the mouth of Advaita Singha, all one's opulences are increased. Singha means lion. Some devotees chanted Jai Sachinandan. Other devotees chanted Jai Gaurachandra Narayana. All glories to Gaura Gopala, who is fond of Sankirtan. All glories to the Lord, who is dear to the devotees and who is death personified for the atheists. Advaita Singha danced with great enthusiasm as the devotees sang the names, qualities, and pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Just behold the incarnation of Lord Chaitanya, who sings his own glories, whose hairs stand on end, and who rolls on the ground in ecstasy. Lord Hari, the hero of Vaikuntha, has incarnated in the form of a Brahmana to enjoy pastimes of Sankirtan. His complexion is like gold. His hands extend to his knees, and his form is most attractive. He has accepted the form of a sannyasi, and he becomes overwhelmed in his own ecstatic mood. I cannot describe how jubilantly he dances. All glories to Sri Gaurasundara, the ocean of mercy. All glories to the Lord of Vrindavan. All glories to the recently advented Lord of Navadvip. Please give me shelter at your lotus feet. As all the devotees chanted, Advaita Prabhu danced and meditated on the lotus feet of Gauranga. Hearing the new verses glorifying the most recent incarnation, all the Vaishnavas chanted the name of Hari in great joy. The bliss of that kirtan was so wonderful, indeed only Nityananda can describe it. Hearing the tumultuous sound of that kirtan, the best of the sannyasis came to that place. When the devotees saw the Lord, they sang with greater enthusiasm, and Advaita danced jubilantly. In their ecstasy, the devotees did not become frightened, but continued chanting the Lord's glories in his presence. Yet the Lord always enjoyed the mood of a servant and would say, "I am Krishna's servant." He did not claim anything other than this. No one had the power to stand before the Lord and address him as Ishvara rather than Das, because that was his mood, in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Still, by the strength of Advaita, the devotees fearlessly glorified Lord Chaitanya. The Lord stood there for a moment, but on hearing his own glorification, he became somewhat embarrassed. To teach everyone the Supreme Lord, who is the instructing spiritual master, then left that place for his own residence. Even then, the devotees did not become frightened. Rather, they chanted with greater enthusiasm. They all became so absorbed in ecstasy that they lost external consciousness. Then they saw the Lord dancing in the kirtan. They all chanted the glories of Lord Chaitanya like madmen. The pious onlookers felt happy, while the impious onlookers felt distressed. What is the use of being a sannyasi or a brahmachari if one is not attracted to the glorification of Lord Chaitanya? In this way, the devotees always engaged in congregational chanting the name of Hari in transcendental ecstasy. Whoever reads or hears about these blissful pastimes certainly attains the association of such devotees. So we're all going to get that association. While chanting and dancing in this way, all the devotees went to meet the Lord at his residence. But after hearing the devotees chant his glories, Sri Chaitanya lay down to induce fear in them. The pious Govinda informed the Lord, "All the Vaishnavas had come to see you." On receiving permission, Govinda brought the devotees in, but the Lord remained lying down, ignoring them. Then all the devotees became fearful, and they began to meditate on Gaurachandra's lotus feet. After a moment, the Lord, who was affectionate to his devotees, began to speak. "O Vaishnavas, O magnanimous Srivas Pandit, what were you doing today? You gave up the glorification of Krishna and his name. And then, who did you glorify? Please tell me." The eloquent Srivas Pandit replied, "O Goswami, there is no independence at all for the living entity. I can clearly tell you that today we acted and spoke in whatever way the Lord inspired us." The Lord said, "You are all learned scholars. Why would you expose someone who wants to remain hidden?" On hearing the Lord's words, Srivas Pandit chuckled to himself as he tried to cover the sun with his two hands. The Lord then asked him, "What is the meaning of this gesture you are making with your hands? Please explain." Srivas Pandit said, "To tell you the truth, I was covering the sun with my hands. But how is it possible to cover the sun with one's hands? Similarly, it is impossible to hide you. Even if the sun can somehow or other be covered by one's hands, you will never be able to hide yourself. How could one hide in this world when he could not hide in the ocean of milk? From the Himalayas to Setubanda, throughout the world, your spotless glories are spread in all directions. The chanting of your glories has filled the entire universe. How many people can you punish for this?" The Lord always increases the glories of his devotees. At that time, something wonderful happened just outside the door. Thousands of people who had come to take darshan of Lord Jagannath suddenly came to see Lord Chaitanya. Some people came from Tripura, some came from Chatigrama, some came from Srihata, and some came from Bengal. There were thousands of people performing kirtan in glorification of Lord Chaitanya. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who wears a garland of forest flowers. All glories to the Lord, who eagerly enjoys the mellows of his own devotional service. All glories to the Supreme Lord, who has accepted the form of the topmost sannyasi. All glories to Murari, who is most attached to the process of Sankirtan. All glories to the best of the Brahmanas, who always enjoys in Vaikuntha. All glories to the Supreme Lord, who is the greatest benefactor of the world. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, the son of Sachi. In this way, hundreds of people chanted and danced. Then Srivas Pandit said, "Oh my Lord, what will you do now? The whole world is singing your glories. Where will you hide?" Have I taught all these people? O Lord, the entire world chants your glories in this way. O Lord, although you are unseen and unmanifest, you have now mercifully manifested yourself before the people of this world. You hide yourself and you manifest yourself. Only one who receives your favor can know you. The Lord said, I can understand that you have made these people glorify me by manifesting your spiritual potency. O Pundit, I have been defeated by you. I can understand that you possess all potencies. It is the nature of the Lord to always increase the glories of his devotees. This is confirmed in the Vedas and in the Bhagavatam. Then, smiling on the devotees, the Lord sent them off and they returned to their residences. Such was the affection shown to the devotees by Lord Caitanya, who is glorified by everyone as Krishna himself. Nityananda Prabhu Advaitacharya and all other leading devotees declare that Sri Krishna Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who does not accept the verdict of such great personalities, but accepts someone else's Krishna, is certainly unfortunate. The Supreme Lord lies on Sheshanag. He is the husband of the goddess of fortune. His chest is decorated with the mark of Shivats and the Kaustuba jewel, and his carrier is Garuda. Know for certain that all these symptoms are found in Krishna, and that Mother Ganges does not appear from the lotus feet of anyone else. Except for Lord Chaitanya, these symptoms are not possible to find in anyone else. This is the statement of the Vedic literatures and the Vaishnavas. Long purport. Whoever respectfully accepts the statements of the Vaishnavas is victorious everywhere. In this way, Sri Gaurasundara always enjoyed pastimes in the company of his devotees. One day, all the devotees were sitting around the Lord like the stars surrounding the moon. The Lord of Vaikuntha and Crest Jewel of the sannyasis was sitting in the middle, incessantly chanting the glories of Lord Krishna. At that time, two most fortunate souls came before the Lord. The Lord then mercifully glanced on those two brothers, Shakara Malik and Rupa. Of course, that's Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. From a distance, the two brothers fell flat, offering obeisances to the Lord. Taking straw in their mouths, they spoke with great humility. So, in the Caitanya Charitamrita, this story is told in the village of Ramakeli, not in Jagannath Puri, anyway. A little bit different. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose mercy all people have become fortunate. All glories to the Supreme Lord, who is kind to the fallen and who is the benefactor of the world. All glories to the Supreme Lord, who has accepted the form of a sannyasi. All glories to the Supreme Lord, who enjoys unlimited pastimes of Sankirtan. All glories to the Lord, who is the beginning, middle, and end of everything. Then for what reason, my Lord, are you not delivering us? Do we not belong to this world? Since our birth we have been bewildered by sense gratification, therefore we have not worshipped your lotus feet for our own benefit. We have neither associated with your devotees, nor have we chanted or heard your kirtans. You have deceived us by making us ministers of a king. Why then have you given us this human form of life? The demigods pray for a human birth. Yet even though you have given us a human birth, you have deceived us. Therefore, please be merciful on us this time without duplicity, so that we may live under a tree and chant your names. May we be blessed with the opportunity to receive the remnants of your dear servant at the door of his house. In this way, the two brothers, Rupa and Sanatan, offered prayers, which were heard by Lord Chaitanya. The Lord then mercifully glanced at the two brothers and began to speak with compassion. The Lord said, both of you are fortunate, for you have cut through the bonds of material life and left home. The whole world is bound by the knots of material enjoyment, yet you have freed yourselves from that bondage. Now if you desire pure love of God, then grab hold of the lotus feet of Advaita Prabhu. Shri Advaita Prabhu is in charge of the storehouse of devotional service. Devotional service is achieved by his mercy. Hearing the Lord's instructions, the two great souls fell flat at the feet of Advaita Prabhu. All glories to Shri Advaita, the deliverer of the fallen souls. We are most fallen, so please deliver us. The Lord then said, please listen, Advaita Goswami. There are no persons in Kali Yuga as renounced as these two. They left royal pleasures and accepted only loincloths and torn quilts. They reside in Mathura and always chant Krishna's name. Of course, in the Caitanya Charitamrita, They were never, both Rupa and Sanatana were never both together at the same time in Jagannath Puri. They came, but not at the same time as each other. A little bit different. Please bestow pure devotional service on them so they do not forget Krishna life after life. You are the storekeeper of devotional service. Who can attain devotion to Krishna, the association of Krishna's devotees, or Krishna himself, unless you give him devotional service? Advaita Prabhu replied, O Lord, you are the giver of everything. If you order me, then I can give. A storekeeper can dispense goods only on the order of the proprietor. In the same way, a person who is favored by you will certainly receive devotional service. With my mind, body, and speech, I bless them both to have prema bhakti in every respect. Hearing the merciful statement of Advaita, the Lord loudly chanted the holy name of Hari. Lord Chaitanya then spoke to Dabir Kash. Now you have received ecstatic love for Krishna. Devotional service is possible by the mercy of Advaita Prabhu. Know for certain that he possesses all the potencies of Krishna. Both of you remain here for some time to see the lotus face of Lord Jagannath and then go reside in Mathura. You should both distribute the mallows of devotional service to the people of the West who are under the influence of the modes of passion and ignorance. Later I will come to Mathura, arrange a secluded place for my stay. The Lord then changed the name of Shakara Malak to Sanatan. By the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, the two brothers, Rupa and Sanatan, are famous throughout the world, even today. Sri Chaitanya Chandra always broadcast the glories of their fame, devotional service, and magnanimity. In great satisfaction, Lord Chaitanya proclaimed the glories of Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, and his other dear devotee associates. Lord Chaitanya revealed who were his devotees, what was their previous identity, which Vaishnava or Vaishnavi the devotees were expansions of, what was their mode of worship, and what were their glories. One day the Lord was sitting among the devotees headed by Advaita and Srivas. The Lord then asked Srivas Pandit about Advaita Charya. The Lord said, "O Srivas, please tell me what kind of Vaishnava you think Advaita Prabhu is." Srivas Pandit thought for a moment and then said, "I consider him similar to Shukadev or Prahlad." Hearing the comparison of Advaita with Prahlad and Shukadev, the Lord became angry and hit Srivas. As an affectionate father spanks his son to teach him, in the same way the Lord gave one slap to Srivas. "What did you say? What did you say, Pandit Srivas? You were saying my Nada is like Shukadev or Prahlad? You may say that Shukadev is fully liberated, but in front of Nada he is like an infant. How dare you say such things about my Nada? Oh, Srivas, you have given me great distress today." Saying this, the Lord angrily took a fishing rod in his hand and chased after Srivas to hit him. Shri Advaita Charya quickly stood up and gently caught hold of the Lord's hand. "O Lord, the Father teaches his sons out of compassion. Therefore, who in the three worlds is a suitable candidate for your anger?" Hearing the words of Advaita Charya, the Lord gave up his anger and in ecstasy began to profusely glorify Advaita. The Lord said, "Since all of you are like my children, my anger is now vanished. Who could know the glories of Nada? It was he who woke me from sleep and brought me here, not of course Advaita Charya." The Lord said, "O Srivas, is this how you respect my Nada? Shuka and others are like his children. You should know that they are all junior to Nada. I have incarnated only because of Advaita Prabhu. His loud crying is still ringing in my ears. I was lying down in the ocean of milk, and my Nada's loud cries woke me and brought me here." Srivas, who had natural affection for Advaita, became very happy when he heard the Lord's statements. Trembling in fear, Srivas said, "O my Lord, I have offended you. Please forgive me. You alone know the truth about Advaita. If you disclose this truth, then other servants can know. Today I have become fortunate, and everything has become auspicious as a result of receiving your instructions. Now you have revealed your authority, and my mind has become strengthened today. From today my resolve is that if Advaita Prabhu touches even wine or women, still I will have staunch devotion for him. I make this promise before you." The Lord became satisfied on hearing Srivas' words. The three of them happily sat down together as before, also similar to the story of how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tested Srivas's faith in Lord Nityananda. All these auspicious narrations are most confidential. By hearing these topics, one surely attains Krishna The omniscient Lord Gaurachandra alone knows the influence and devotion of each devotee. He knows their power as well as who is senior and who is junior. Whoever serves the Lord without duplicity can also know these things. Just as the science of Lord Vishnu described in the Vedas is difficult to understand, in the same way the science of the Vaishnava is also difficult to understand. The characteristics of a perfect Vaishnava are most extraordinary. Not understanding this, people criticize them and suffer the consequences. The characteristics of a perfect Vaishnava are most extraordinary. Just see yourself. The example given in the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhrigu Muni, the great Vaishnava son of Brahma, thinks day and night about the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Although Bhrigu kicked that Lord Vishnu in the chest, he is nevertheless accepted as a topmost Vaishnava. In this connection, please hear the statements of the Srimad Bhagavatam regarding Bhrigu. Long, long ago, many great sages gathered on the bank of the river Saraswati to perform a great sacrifice and to hear from the Puranas. Those sages were all learned in the scriptures and were expert in the performance of austerities. In this particular meeting, they began to discuss the absolute truth. The sages in that assembly discussed who was the supreme amongst the three predominating deities, Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva. Someone said that Brahma was the greatest. Someone said that Shiva was the greatest, and someone said that Vishnu was the greatest of all. Even in the Puranas, different statements are found. In some places, it is said Shiva is the greatest, and somewhere else it is said Narayan is the greatest. Then all the sages requested Bhrigu to gather evidence to establish the actual truth. You are the mind-born son of Brahma. You are senior to us in every respect, and you are the best of the knowers of the truth. You go and determine who is the greatest, then return and remove our doubts. We will accept whatever you say as conclusive. After hearing this, Bhrigu first of all went to his father's residence in Brahmaloka. The story, of course, is from the Bhagavatam. Bhrigu Muni first went to the assembly of his father, Brahma, and proudly stood there before him. Brahma became greatly pleased on seeing his son, and he inquired about Bhrigu's welfare. Because Bhrigu wanted to test whether Brahma had the quality of goodness, he did not listen attentively to his father. He neither offered prayers nor respectful obeisances to his father. He neglected whatever etiquette a son is expected to show his father. Seeing the disrespectful behavior of his son, Brahma became very angry and appeared like the incarnation of Agni fire. When Bhrigu saw his father's angry mood, he ran away in fear that he would be cursed and turned to ashes. Everyone present there held the feet of Brahma and pacified him, saying, "Please don't be so cruel to your son." Out of affection for his son, Brahma then controlled his anger as fire is extinguished with water. After testing Brahma, Bhrigu Muni went directly to Kailash to test Shiva. When Shiva saw Bhrigu Muni, he became happy. He and Parvati stood up with due respect. Displaying the etiquette of an elder brother, the three-eyed Shiva personally rose to embrace Bhrigu with affection. But Bhrigu Muni said, "My dear Mahesh, please do not touch me. You wear all the symbols of an atheist. You always keep Bhutas, Pretas, Pisachas, and other untouchable atheists around you. Your behavior is full of contradictions. What scripture says that one can decorate his body with bones and ashes?" Because these are the bones of sages. "If you touch me, I will have to bathe. Therefore, O Lord of the Bhutas, please stay away from me." Bhrigu Muni spoke like this to test Shiva, otherwise he would never criticize Shiva. When the three-eyed Shiva heard Bhrigu's insulting words, he became angry and at once picked up his trident. Shankara forgot all the respect an elder brother generally gives to his brother, and he assumed his form is the annihilator. As Shiva took up his trident to kill Bhrigu Muni, Parvati quickly came and caught hold of Shiva's hand. She then grabbed Shiva's feet and said, "O Lord, should an older brother become so angry?" On hearing Parvati's words, Shankara became embarrassed. Bhrigu then went on to Vaikuntha, the abode of Krishna. The Lord was lying on a jeweled bed, and Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, was engaged in massaging his lotus feet. At that time, Bhrigu Muni came there unnoticed and kicked the Lord's chest with his foot. On seeing Bhrigu Muni, the Lord immediately got up from his bed and affectionately offered his obeisances to the Brahmin. Then the Lord, along with Lakshmi, joyfully washed Bhrigu Muni's feet. After offering Bhrigu an excellent sitting place, the Lord personally smeared sandalwood pulp on Bhrigu's body. The Lord then begged forgiveness from Bhrigu as if he had committed an offense. I committed an offense because I was unaware of your arrival and did not receive you properly. I beg you to pardon me. The water that was used to wash your feet is so pure it can sanctify the places of pilgrimage. All the Brahmandas situated within my body, as well as the rulers of all the planets, all of us have become purified today by this water that has washed your feet. Therefore, let your characteristics remain imperishable. I will gladly keep the mark and dust of your footprint on my chest. I will keep the mark of your footprint on my chest, along with Lakshmi, whose residence on my chest is glorified by the Vedas as the mark of Srivatsa. Hearing the Lord's words and seeing his humble behavior, Brigamuni concluded that Lord Vishnu was certainly beyond the influence of lust, anger, greed, and illusion. Brigamuni was struck with wonder, and he lowered his head in shame. Whatever Brigamuni did was not on his account, but rather he acted on the inspiration of providence. Brigamuni then regained his external consciousness, and after seeing the exhibition of the Lord's love and affection, he was filled with devotional love and began to dance. As the son of Brahma became absorbed in devotional sentiments, he exhibited symptoms like laughing, shivering, perspiring, loss of consciousness, hair standing on end, and shouting loudly. Krishna is the Lord and life of all. The son of Brahma danced as he declared this truth. After observing the humble and peaceful behavior of the Lord, Brigamuni concluded that such love and devotion was not possible anywhere else. Brigamuni's eyes became filled with tears of ecstasy. He became stunned with devotion, was unable to speak. He fully surrendered himself to the Lord and returned to the assembly of great sages. Seeing Brigamuni, everyone became joyful and asked, "O Briga, what sort of behavior have you seen?" "We will accept whatever you say as conclusive." Then Brigamuni described his experiences. He explained in detail the characteristics of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, and then spoke the following words in conclusion. Narayana, the Lord of Vaikuntha, is the greatest of all. This is the truth, the truth, the truth, 3 times. Krishna is the controller and father of all. Even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva work under his direction. Lord Narayan is the doer, creator, and protector. Therefore, one should worship his lotus feet without doubt. Know for certain that religiosity, knowledge, pious activities, opulences, renunciation, as well as one's exalted position and influence, all originate from Krishna. Therefore, sing the glories of Krishna and worship him. Lord Caitanya is that same Lord Krishna. He appeared to enjoy the pastimes of Sankirtan. After hearing Brigamuni's statement with great attention, the sages became free from doubt and concluded that Narayan is the greatest. The sages then offered their respects to Brigamuni and said, "You have cleared our doubts and made our minds peaceful." All the sages then accepted the devotional service of Krishna with determination, and they faithfully worshiped Brahma and Shiva with the understanding that they are devotees. I have thus explained the extraordinary characteristics of a perfect Vaishnava, yet who can understand this? Was there no other way for Brigu to test the Lord than by kicking him with his feet? It was by the mercy of the Supreme Creator that Brigu had the audacity to kick the Lord in his chest. The behavior of an exalted personality is incomprehensible and unfathomable. I do not see any conclusion other than this. Lord Krishna entered the body of Brigamuni and caused this incident to take place to broadcast the glories of devotional service. Brigamuni could never perform such an act knowingly, but Krishna wanted to increase the glories of his pure devotee. Brahma and Shankara displayed anger and threatened Brigamuni to increase the glories of Krishna. As the devotees always sing the glories of Lord Krishna, Krishna increases the glories of his devotees. If one criticizes an exalted Vaishnava without understanding his behavior, one can never be delivered. Sometimes an exalted Vaishnava exhibits the same behavior and characteristics as a mundane or materialistic person. The conclusion is that only by the mercy of Krishna can one understand a great Vaishnava. Otherwise, in such intricate situations, one may be either liberated or destroyed. But I have found a wonderful solution to this problem. One should always glorify and behave humbly with all. Then Lord Krishna will impart one with transcendental intelligence by which one is completely delivered without hindrance. Whoever listens to the activities of Lord Chaitanya with devotion will be easily freed from material bondage. Accepting Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul, I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. Thus ends the English translation of the Gaudiya Bhasha, of the Sri Caitanya Bhagavat Anchikanda, chapter 9, entitled The Glories of Advaita. And now we go to chapter 10, which is the final chapter, The Glories of Pundarik Vijayanidhi, who is actually Vrishabhanu. All glories to Sri Gaurachandra, who bears the mark of Srivatsa. All glories to the jewel of Shachi's womb, the personification of Sanatana Dharma. All glories to Gauranga Gopal, who enjoys the performance of Sankirtan. All glories to the Supreme Lord, who is dear to the devotees, and who is death to the miscreants. All glories to Sri Gauranga along with his devotees. By hearing these topics about Lord Chaitanya, one attains devotional service. In this way, the hero Vaikuntha, in the form of a sannyasi, enjoyed blissful pastimes with his devotees. One day, as the Lord was sitting comfortably, internet connection unstable. Wait, okay, it should be better now. One day, as the Lord was sitting comfortably, Shri Adwaita came before him. Adwaita offered his obeisances to the Lord and sat down. Then Gaura Hari smiled and inquired from him. In satisfaction, the Lord asked, "O Acharya, tell me, where have you come from? What were you doing?" Advaita Acharya replied, "I went to see Lord Jagannath, and then I came here to see you." The Lord then asked, "After seeing Lord Jagannath, what else did you do?" Advaita replied, "After seeing Lord Jagannath, I circumambulated him 5 or 7 times." What have I lost? Give me evidence. Then I can believe. Oh, yeah. When the Lord heard the word circumambulated, he laughed and said, "You were defeated." Advaita Acharya inquired, "What have I lost? Give me evidence, and then I can believe you." The Lord then said, "Listen, this is what you have lost. When you're behind the Lord while circumambulating him, you were deprived of the Lord's darshan. Jagannath, my eyes do not move anywhere else. I do not look to the left or right, nor do I circumambulate. I do not see anything other than the beautiful face." Advaita Acharya folded his hands and said to the Lord, "May I always be defeated by you in this way. But I tell you frankly, there's no one in the 3 worlds qualified to act like you. You alone are qualified in this way. Only before you am I defeated on this topic." On hearing this conversation, the Vaishnavas smiled and raised an auspicious tumult by chanting, "Hudi, Hudi!" In this way, the Lord's topics are all amazing. The Lord always showed great affection for Advaita Acharya. One day, Sri Gadadhar Pandit asked the Lord about the initiation mantra he had been given. I have given someone my initiation mantra, and I am not getting realization from chanting it. You please give that mantra to me again, and then my mind will be joyful." So actually, he was given the mantra by Pundarik Vijayanidhi. So the Lord is not happy with that particular statement. The Lord said, "You have already have a spiritual master, so be careful. Don't become an offender. What to speak of a mantra? I can give even my life to you, but it would not be proper to give you mantra while your spiritual master is alive." Gadadhar replied, "He is not here now, so you can do it in his place." The Lord then said, "By the arrangement of providence, your spiritual master Pundarik Vijayanidhi, will soon come, and you will easily meet him." The crest jewel of omniscient persons knew everything. He said, "Pundarik Vijayanidhi will soon arrive in Puri. You will meet him here in 10 days, for he is coming just to see me. I always remember Pundarik Vijayanidhi. Now I understand that you have attracted him to come here." So Pundarik Vijayanidhi, as I mentioned before, is Vrishabhanu, the father of Srimati Radharani. In this way, the Lord happily spent his days from Gadadhar. Whenever Gadadhar would recite Bhagavatam, the Lord would manifest various symptoms of ecstatic love. The Lord attentively heard the glories of Prahlad and Dhruva hundreds of times. He had no time for any other activity, for he was constantly engaged in hearing and chanting the names and qualities of Krishna. Whenever Swarup Damodar chanted the qualities of Krishna, who is one without a second, Lord Gauranga would become overwhelmed and would dance in ecstasy. Transformations of ecstatic love like shedding tears, shivering, laughing, losing consciousness, hair standing on end, and loud crying manifested in their personified forms and danced along with Chaitanya Chandra. When the Lord heard the loud chanting of Swarup Damodar, he would lose consciousness and fall to the ground. Among all the sannyasi associates of the Lord, no one was equal to Swarup Damodar. The Lord had similar affection for Swarup Damodar as he had for Paramananda Puri. Damodar Swarup was expert in the art of melodious singing. The Lord would Swarup Damodar remain incognito as he wandered around the city so that no one could recognize him. Swarup Damodar would induce the Lord to dance by performing kirtan as nicely as Narada Muni sings, accompanied by a stringed instrument or a celestial singer known as tumburu. What could be more glorious? Among the Lord's internet connection again. Okay. Among the Lord's sannyasi associates, there was no one as dear to the Lord as Paramananda Puri. Paramananda Puri and Swarup Damodar were the two most qualified devotees amongst the Lord's sannyasi associates. These two personalities always remained with the Lord. They accepted sannyas to assist the Lord in his sannyas pastimes. Paramananda Puri was always engaged in meditation, and Sri Swarup was always engaged in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Two sannyasis were like the arms of Lord Chaitanya. Day and night, Gaurachandra enjoyed performing kirtan with Swarup Damodar. While sleeping, eating, or moving about, Swarup Damodar would never leave the Lord for even a moment. In his previous ashram, Swarup Damodar was known as Purushottamacharya, and he had a dear friend named Pundarik Vijayanidhi. Even while walking on the road, whenever the Lord heard Swarup Damodar sing, he would become overwhelmed with ecstasy and forget the way. The Lord would relish such ecstasy in the company of Damodar Swarup that he would not understand where he was. The Lord would not know whether he was in the water, on the ground, in the forest, or in the bushes, and he would loudly cry out. Swarup Damodar would perform kirtan alone with the Lord. Whenever the Lord would fall in the forest or in the bushes, Damodar Swarup would catch hold of him. The limit of Swarup Damodar's good fortune is found only in Swarup Damodar himself. Of course, he is Lalita Devi in Krishna's pastimes. One day, Mahaprabhu became completely absorbed in ecstatic love and fell into Acharya, and the other devotees became bewildered, and they began crying as they held their heads in their hands. The Lord was enjoying ecstatic love, and he did not understand what had happened. He simply floated in that well like a child. When the Lord fell, the well became like butter, so his body was not scratched. This was not very wonderful. By the influence of devotional service, a Vaishnava also does not feel the pain of a thorn he steps on while dancing. Advaita Prabhu and the other devotees then quickly pulled the Lord out of the well. The Lord did not understand that he had fallen in the well. He therefore asked the devotees, "What's going on? Why are you crying?" The Lord's external events. He inquired from others as if he did not know what happened. Hearing the nectarian words from the mouth of the Lord, the devotees headed by Advaita Prabhu floated in ecstasy. As the Lord was enjoying the mellows of devotional service in this way, he understood that Pundarik Vijayanidhi had arrived. As soon as the Lord remembered him, Pundarik Vijayanidhi came there to meet him. When the Lord saw Pundarik Vijayanidhi, he smiled and said, "My father has come, my father has come." Sri Premanidhi became overwhelmed in ecstatic love, and his heart became filled with all auspiciousness. The Supreme Lord Sri Gaurachandra, who was affectionate to his devotees, embraced Premanidhi and began crying. The Vaishnavas on all sides began to weep as they experienced the complete happiness of Vaikuntha. The Lord and his assembled devotees' affection for Premanidhi increased incessantly. Damodar Swarup was his old friend, and now they met each other in the presence of the Lord. They both desired the dust of each other's feet, so they pulled and pushed each other and fell to the ground. How sweet that is. They were both strong and powerful, and therefore neither was defeated. Lord Gauranga, who inspired them in this way, smiled as he eagerly watched. Then the Lord regained his external consciousness and requested Pundarik Vijayanidhi. Wait a second. please stay in Nilachal for some time. When Premanidhi heard the Lord's request, he became very satisfied. He considered himself fortunate and set up his residence near the Lord. Gadadhar Pandit took the opportunity to lovingly accept mantra initiation again from Premanidhi. What I say about the glories of Premanidhi? The extent of his love is understood by the fact that he had a disciple such as Gadadhar Pandit. Indeed, Premanidhi's glories were narrated by Advaita Prabhu, Srivas, Murari, and Haridas. There was not a single Vaishnava who did not glorify him. Similarly, Pundarik Vijayanidhi would serve the devotees with his body, mind, and speech. There was not a speck of false ego in his person. I am unable to understand the wonderful mercy that he received from Lord Chaitanya. Now I will write something regarding Pundarik Vijayanidhi's position as a dear servant of Krishna, according to what I heard from the mouth of Gadadhar Pandit. Wow, that's directly from Gadadhar Pandit's mouth. The Lord kept Pundarik Vijayanidhi with him in Jagannath Puri and assigned him a residence at Yameshwara on the shore of the ocean. While residing in Nilachal, he regularly went to see Lord Jagannath. Pundarik Vijayanidhi was very dear to Swarup Damodar. They would go together to see Lord Jagannath and then enjoy discussing topics of Krishna. Soon the time came for the festival called Odana Shasti. On this occasion, Lord Jagannath wears a new dress. By the desire of Lord Jagannath, his servants dress him in a starched dress on this day, which is actually very uncomfortable. Lord Gaurasundara took all of his devotees and went to see this festival of Odana Shasti. Mridangas, mohares, conchils, kettle drums, kahalas, dakas, dagadas, and kadas were loudly played. On that day, Lord Jagannath wears various dresses. This festival continues from the 6th day of the waxy moon in the month of Agrahyana, November, December, to the end of the month of Magh, January, February. The offering of dresses goes on till the end of night. As Lord Chaitanya watched this festival with his devotees, he floated in waves of ecstatic love. Lord Chaitanya was himself the worshipper and the object of worship, but without his mercy, who could understand his mind? In the form of the deity, the Lord sat on the throne, and in the form of a sannyasi, he practiced devotional service. Fine white, yellow, and blue silk clothes decorated with pearls and gold were offered to the deity form of the Lord. After Lord Jagannath was dressed, he was decorated with flower ornaments, flower bangles, a flower crown, and flower garlands. Lord Jagannath was then worshipped with 16 items like sandalwood pulp, flowers, incense, and ghee lamps. He was then offered various types of foodstuffs. After the Lord saw this festival in the company of all of his associates, he returned to his residence absorbed in ecstatic love. After sending all the Vaishnavas home, the Lord remained alone in his own ecstatic mood. All the devotees left for their respective residences except Pundarik Vijayanidhi, who remained with Swarup Damodar. They would both disclose their minds to each other without hesitation. After seeing Lord Jagannath wearing starched cloth, Pundarik Vijayanidhi developed some doubts. So we can end here because I want people to hear the whole story. And actually there's very little left in the chapter, probably about 80 more verses. But it's time to take questions. So we are up to 102. Let me just mark this down. Chapter 10, 102. Okay, so if you have a question, you can raise your hand by going to the little heart at the bottom of the screen and clicking on that, and then clicking on hand raising. Okay. Don't raise your hand in your video. Raise your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon or whatever it is, and then I'll call on you. So is anyone? Oh, Nanda Gopal, you have a question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Prabhupada.
All glories to Prabhupada.
Maharaj, in the past time where the devotee was aspiring to have mantra or Guru mantra from the Mahaprabhu, and he said, so I just want to understand, like, when we say Guru mantra, is it the pranam mantra of Guru Maharaj?
No. We're talking about the Gayatri mantra.
Oh, okay. Okay.
When you talk about the mantra, That means the mantra the Guru gives, which is the Gayatri mantras. And, you know, once you get it from the Guru, you don't go to someone else, even if that person happens to be God. That was the point Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was giving. So it's interesting that sometimes we have devotees who think they can take reinitiation when their guru is in good standing, but they just think, oh, you know, now I found a better guru. This is a great offense. This is a very great offense. Because in this story, this is what's illustrated, that obviously Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the best of all the gurus, but he wouldn't give the mantra again. He said you have to get it from your initiating guru, the person who gave you initiation, which is Pundarik Vijayanidhi. So it's a very important lesson. Very, very important lesson. No matter how exalted another Vaishnava is, it's not you can just play switcheroos with the mantra. I mean, certainly you can take advantage of Siksha from different Vaishnavas, which Gadadhar Pandit was doing. He was taking advantage of Shiksha from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But you can't. This is offense, a great offense. Even if your guru is just regular guru, and you know there happens to be a Maha Guru, you can't do that. Okay, that's
Thank you, Baba.
that's the point of this particular story, referring to the Gayatri mantras. Usually that's what initiation is considered to be when you get the mantra, not the pranam mantra. No. So, okay, who else has a question? You can raise your hand, and I will call on you. All right. What was the significance of Gadadhar Pandit asking for initiation mantra? Is there such a thing as reinitiation? No. The only time when you got the mantra again is if the guru turns out to be a non-Vaishnava. You know, that's the only time. And, however, there are different gurus who give different mantras in different sampradayas. That's a little bit different. Let's say you took initiation as a Ramanuja Sampradaya, and you got the whatever Gayatri mantras they give. And so, of course, we give different Gayatri mantras, other than the Brahma Gayatri, which everybody in India gets. Brahma Gayatri is begins with Om Bhur Bhuvat. Anyway, I'm not going to give you the whole thing. But there's Brahma Gayatri people get when they're little kiddies. You know, that means, you know, some people like 5, 6 years old, they get the Brahma Gayatri. But the other Gayatri mantras are very specific to a particular sampradaya. And so we have very specific mantras in our sampradaya, or specific that Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave. Of course, there's the Brahma Gayatri, there's the Guru Mantra, Guru Gayatri, there's the Gora Mantra, Gora Gayatri, there's the Gopal Mantra, and then you have the last mantra, the Kama Gayatri. Anyway, so here's a question in the chat window again. Hare Krishna Gurudev, please, on my respectable basis, how do you reconcile when Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj saw the Lord, they prayed to the Lord? Whereas Brigamuni danced in ecstasy with signs of ecstasy. These signs are also like prayers, yeah. He was in ecstasy because of the realization he got. Anyway, different people have different reactions when they see the Lord. I mean, I think if I was to see Krishna, probably instead of prayers, I would just faint and come back to consciousness, 3 weeks from now or something like that. Who knows? So, okay, we have Acharya has his hand raised. What's your question?
I have two Gurudev, if I can.
Yeah, quick.
One of them is related to this Gayatri mantra. Sometimes I hear devotees saying, well, I would like to hear the Gayatri mantra again from my Guru. Is that something we should practice at all, or there's no point? It's just sentiment.
No, it's not necessary. Not necessary. You heard it once, and that's enough.
Hmm.
Perfecting
And the other
chanting.
question is, how do we, understand these differences between different scriptures? Like we were reading now, the Sanatan Rupa came now to Jagannath Puri, whereas Chaitanya Charitamrita is a bit different.
Yeah. Well, the Siddhanta, and actually many of these biographical, historical, hagiographical works, um, there we read them for the Siddhanta because anyway, generally we understand that Chaitanya Charitamrita is more authoritative because Raghunath Das Goswami was residing with Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami had Swarup Damodar Maharaj's diary to consult, and he also, and of course, Raghunath Das Goswami spent more time with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu than any other associate, any of the other Goswamis, sorry. So it's much more authoritative as far as the actual details are concerned. And as far as the early pastimes, Murari Gupta's Kadacha diary is actually very, very authoritative because Murari Gupta was there. And that Kadacha is available. You can look, Banu Maharaj translated it. It's available on Amazon as an ebook or whatever book you want to read. So, yeah, Banu Maharaj has translated a lot of books. I mean, looks like hundreds of books. I mean, he's one of the most prolific authors, translators in the Krishna consciousness movement. An amazing, amazing, amazing devotee. Humble, doesn't accept disciples. Just very, very humble and absorbed in Shastra and Lord Chaitanya's service and GBC work. He's wow, amazing devotee. How I can't glorify him enough. And you don't hear much about him, but he's an amazing devotee. Just so humble. Whew. Anyway, so yeah, so Gayatri mantra. So, all right, so I guess that's it. So just the announcement again. We just have a few more verses to go in the Caitanya Bhagavat. I mean, maybe if I get a chance, I could slip him in when I'm in Govardhan or something like that, because it'll be a different time. So it's hard to figure when to do it. But so anyway, so I'll be at Govardhan beginning on the 11th. I'm leaving here on the 9th, and by the time we get to Govardhan, it'll be early in the morning on the 11th. So thank you very much, and we'll see everybody soon. Please record. I am recording. Yeah. Anyway, if we finish it, we'll do it online, and it'll be recorded. And all these classes are on YouTube, on my channel, Bir Krishna Goswami, under the subheading of Caitanya Bhagavat. Okay. Or other classes, Nectar, Devotion. I'm in Govardhan beginning the 11th of December. I already said that. 11th to the 25th of December. Thank you very much. All glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta